Hey everyone, Chris here, back with more film student reviews. Now, this is a movie I saw a few weeks ago and didn't really film this video until now, but this is the movie that made me want to do this series. This is the movie that gave me the inspiration to do this series. But I'm here to talk to you about Nobody. You may not have heard of it. It's an action movie starring Bob Odenkirk. What's very interesting about that and why I wanted to watch this movie in the first place is because Bob Odenkirk is a comic actor. Like, he typically only takes on like roles in comedy movies and stuff. That's what he's most known for. But this movie that he starred in, Nobody, is an action movie, very similar in style to John Wick. I believe it's from the same writers who have done the John Wick movies. So that idea intrigued me. And I had seen the trailer forever ago and it looked very interesting, so I saw it at Walmart one day and was like, hey, I should get that. And I am so glad I did. Let me tell you. I'm not going to spoil too much of the plot, but basically, he's a nobody. He leads a normal life. He has a normal job. He takes every day, one day at a time, like never stepping outside the line. He's a normal guy. Some would even say boring, to be honest. He leads a boring life. He's a husband and father. He works at like a steel mill, I think. They don't really say what he does, but he works at like this big factory of some kind. But one day his house gets broken into, and in the ensuing chaos of that happening, one of his daughters appears to lose what was it? It was like a toy or a stuffed animal or something. And that pushes him over the edge. This is his John Wick moment where they steal his car and they kill his dog, but instead of that, they steal his daughter's little toy, and that sets him off. He is mad. Give me the goddamn kitty cat bracelet! You find out that it's hard to describe because they don't really give you like a detailed backstory as to what he was. All you know is that he was an operative for the government, and he was always called in to clean up the particularly nasty messes.
I used to be what they call an auditor. The last guy anyone wants to see at their door, because it meant you didn't have long to live.
This man is notorious for leaving no survivors, which is so odd considering, like, you know, the introduction you've gotten as like this boring character who leads a boring life. But then you find out that he's like the most powerful asset the US military had for years. It's basically the journey of him coming to terms with the fact that he wanted this. The normal life was nice to him for a time, but he never wanted to admit it to himself, but he missed the violence. He missed the action. And so that's what this story is about. It's basically him coming to terms with the fact that this is who he is. If you get a kick out of action movies that have brutal violence in slow motion set to old music, it's a very specific genre, then this is the movie for you. I cannot stress enough how satisfying this movie is. I do enjoy violence in movies. I really do. It's it's a very fun thing to have in movies. And this movie just absolutely blew it out of the park. I don't want to spoil too much about the actual plot because I genuinely want anyone watching this movie to see this for yourself. Watch Nobody, please. You will not regret it. A lot of this movie is just slow motion fight scenes or just him being like this hard trained warrior. Like, the opening shots of the movie is just him like in a police interrogation room just pulling out a cigarette and lighting it in slow motion, and I just thought that was such a good intro. So good. And the fact that this man is being played by someone who's known as a comedian actor from the past, like, he did so good. His performance was amazing in this movie. Like, he had the intensity. He trained for this role. That's one thing I know for a fact about this movie. He trained for the role. He wanted to be in tip-top shape. This man is in his 60s. You should know that. He's in his 60s, but he trained at it, and he became this like intense, like brutal person for the movie, and I just thought that was so beautiful. So I have a tier list. This one, the one I did before in the previous episode, that was for guilty pleasure movies. This is my action movie tier list. So all the, like, you know, basically like Dwayne Johnson style movies or like John Wick movies, like all of those would get lumped into this tier list. And we're just gonna sit this guy nice and pretty at A. This was easily an A tier movie for me. The reason it's not an S, this is the one thing that makes it not an S, is it doesn't have like the lore building and the universe building that John Wick did. That's the one thing that John Wick has over this movie, is you get more backstory into the character. You know exactly what he is and what he's done. And you also get exposed to this entire like underground community of assassins that is in the John Wick universe, like the Continental Hotel, and, you know, all the assassins that come after him for the rest of the franchise, basically. This movie, like, it hinted that there was something underneath the surface, but never revealed it, which, you know, it's a nice tease. It's good for like sequel material, honestly. But that's the one thing that takes it from an S to an A for me. But an A is still an amazing grade. I would highly recommend anyone to see this movie easily. I came into it with no expectations, and I was blown out of the water with this movie. So that's it for my review of Nobody. Amazing movie. The shots were immaculate. The fight scenes were intense and amazing. The acting was superb. I don't want to make these like lengthy videos like, oh, pretentious film student reviews only boring movies. No, I want this to be like movies that I've seen recently that are kind of fresh in my mind, so that I can like deliver these. And if you guys have any movies that you want to recommend to me, like if you guys have any movie suggestions for me to watch and review, then let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to see more movies and add more movies to these lists. But that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was entertaining. I hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you did. Subscribe if you enjoy all of my videos. I have a gaming channel, I stream on Twitch, and I have a Discord server. Links to all of those are in the description below. Feel free to check them out if that's your thing. Thank you everybody so much for being here, and I'll catch you guys in another video. And cut!